We in here. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Make sure my microphone working good because we up in here on this good Tuesday afternoon. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants. We got a good one today. We got a good show today. We got a lot of good information today because we're talking about our Black mental health. We're talking about our Black trauma. We're getting more information on post-traumatic slave syndrome. We're getting more information on what happened to us here in America and why that leads to the way we behave the way we behave. And so the main feature for today is the interview with Dr. Ma'at and Dr. Joy Degruy that happened, I believe, like a week or two ago on Dr. Ma'at's channel. And big shout out to Dr. Ma'at. I catch her lives, her and Brother Ankh. So big shout out to them and what the things that they're doing, especially the things that Dr. Ma'at is doing with the children, I think in the Baltimore area. So big shout out to her and the things that she has been doing for a long time to help make sure that our next generation actually has something to look forward to, actually have skills to build all these different things. So shout out to Dr. Ma'at and the big shout out to Dr. Joy Degruy, right? Love her work, love what she's been doing, love post-traumatic slave syndrome. I watched like almost all of her lectures. I just been tuning in to Dr. Joy Degruy for a minute. So we got a chance to get Dr. Ma'at and Dr. Joy Degruy together to talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome, but also talk about it in a fashion of the latest conversations, especially the conversations intertwined with the diaspora wars. And so that's a bit of this conversation as well, these diaspora wars that's going on, because their conversation is built upon a video that we talked about here on this channel. The brother Sarah Garvey, it came from his YouTube channel. The title of that video is The Black American, a Laboratory Creation. And if you remember the Franken Negro live that I did a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, when I gave my opinion on Sarah Garvey and his what's the Cluster View official, their conversation on the creation of the Black American. And my argument was, well, that's not just the creation of the Black American, that's the creation of the African diaspora. Everybody might not be to the same degree, but it is the creation of the African diaspora. And so Dr. Joy Degruy is going to give us more information on that. But Dr. Ma'at is also presenting it in a way to make sure that the question is answered and the conversation is had about non-Black Americans having a conversation about the origins and the experience of Black Americans. Now, that's not my aim to get into that, but just laying the foundation of what the conversation is all about. And so we are talking about Black trauma, and Black trauma has not ended. It continued to happen. Black people continue to be traumatized here in America specifically, but throughout the African diaspora. But our experiences under the system of white supremacy has improved in certain ways, but not necessarily overall, because white supremacy just refined itself. But the trauma has not ended. The trauma has not subsided. The trauma has not lessened. It continues to build and build and build. And we're talking about continuous trauma on top of unhealed trauma. So that gets into, the title of the video, the origins of the Black mental health crisis, because we do have a mental health crisis within our Black American community. Of course, we have a mental health crisis throughout the diaspora, but we got to take care of home right here, right? Got to make sure we're taking care of home so we can take care of the diaspora. But we do have a Black mental health crisis, and a lot of our people are suffering, some with help, some without help. But we're trying to get to the root of why we behave the way we behave and why Black America has the mental health crisis that it has. So that's what we're getting into, but we're getting into it through a lens of post-traumatic slave syndrome. And we're going to let Dr. Joy Degruy and Dr. Ma'at lead that conversation. But, you know, I got to lay the foundation. You know, I always got to lay my foundation and build up to it. So the first couple of videos that we got is some videos that I seen earlier, scrolling through social media about, and it shows how the trauma continues for Black people. But before we get in that, you know, we got to acknowledge people up in this thing on this good Tuesday, this good Veterans Day. And shout out to all of our veterans, all of our Black folk, all of our veterans, and not just veterans within the armed services, but all of our veterans who have truly been 10 toes down fighting for our liberation. Shout out to our veterans. So yes. Dion White is up in the building, the first one. So, you know, Dion, I got to show you some love. You that first comment. So welcome, my brother. Oh man, it's about to go down. It's about to go down today. It says, thank you, host, for all you do and your service and dedication. I'm sorry. Oh, it's just Joseph, either Joe or Joseph. So thank you, Dion. I appreciate you. I appreciate your continued tuning in, your continued support. The Black man called Preston. What's going on, my brother? Be one of you, my brother, what's going on? Thank y'all for being up in here. Ty, shout out to you, Ty. Shout out to you. Thank you for being up in here. I love it. Please hit that like button, family. Please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, hit that hype button. Let's make sure as many people as possible get up in here and get tuned into this content and this conversation. There she go. It's going down Saturday. Is you ready for Saturday? It's going down Saturday. The real PH Diva is up in the building. Man, y'all stay tuned because we got some good stuff coming for y'all, coming to y'all down this Black psychology lane. So yes, Black veterans and soldiers have been influential not only in American history, but yes. And we have to make sure that we show love to our ancestors who gave their heart, their soul, their tears, their blood, their bodies for us to be where we are today. And they did it in many different fashions. But shout out to all of our ancestors who fought for justice, fought for the right things, fought for our people, fought for our freedom, fought for our liberation. And it's going down. Oh, okay, that's what I'm talking about. And you said the country. I love it. That's how I know you really ready, because you said it right. You is ready. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and get this show kicked off the right way. So this first video, like I said, I'm setting the foundation because we're showing that Black trauma has not ended. It continues to compile on top of the trauma that we experienced from slavery that has not been healed, and all the trauma that was continued, from there, just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. So look at this video, because this is wild, right? Showing you that the trauma has not stopped.
Yeah, I see this piece of shit right here. His name is Robert Parks from Baltimore. He tried to run over a young, innocent Black man with his police car.
Yeah, what's your reason to stop me? You ain't even got no reason to stopping him, bro. Hey, yo, walk off, Trey. You hit the alley, yo. Go ahead, Trey. Walk off, yo. He beating. They ain't even got no reason to stop him. Hey, yo, what the? You gonna hit him with the car? Yo, what the, bro? Yo, hell no, yo.
Right.
Hey, yo. Come back this way, yo. Yo, beating, bro. You crashing it all that. You really crashing out, bro. Really crashing out, bro. You crashed his car and all that, bro. You really trying to hit my mind, bro. You really trying to hit, bro, with the car and all that.
Someone that recently died said there was no such thing as white privilege. All I know is if my Black ass was driving that police car, I would have been arrested for attempted murder. All the Baltimore Police Department did was suspend this dude. They've even given him Officer of the Month. No way that has anything to do with his skin color. Just think about how many times this dude has done some shit like this without any cameras around. They're trying to cover this story up and hide Robert Parks' identity. So y'all share this story, and here's the Baltimore Police Department's phone number. If you like, you can call them and tell them Robert Parks needs to be fired and arrested.
So looking at the things that we continue to face here in America, somebody who's supposed to be an officer of the law, but of course we see that that person is not, because he really tried to run Buddy over with his car. So I know our focus here is on our mental health, black mental health, but we're looking at some kind of psychotic, psychopathic fool behind the badge who would try to run somebody over with that car. But think about that experience. That's another experience in the bag for that black person and all of those who are in that situation, and maybe even those watching. And Dr. Joy Degruy is going to explain why you don't have to directly be in that situation to be affected traumatically by that situation. But for those who are in that situation, imagine how the trauma compounds, especially when you're being hunted down with a police car by a police officer, somebody who's supposed to be a peacekeeper, somebody who's supposed to be keeping you safe. But of course, we know that ain't how it happened for us, right? And it's another attack. We can even look at it as another attack on a black man, right? So how are we supposed to view our oppressors? How are we supposed to view people, the white people, and the system of white supremacy, right? How are we not supposed to look at that person as what they would call a race soldier? How are we not supposed to do that, right? Look at the continued interactions that we keep having with so-called officers of the law. The trauma continues. The trauma continues. That's just what has been caught on tape. Now, the good thing about cameras being everywhere these days is you can get stuff caught on tape like that. But what is the consequences? Once again, in that, no consequences. It's they either getting a slap on the wrist or no consequences. Because I think he said Buddy only got suspended. So it doesn't matter that they catch it on camera. What are the consequences? Because if the actions don't stop, the trauma continues. I'm just saying. So this next clip, you can see the caption. It says, when you raise your black children, that race or color doesn't matter. They become easy victims of their enemies. And this is a video of look like a black student or a young black boy is look like he's heavily intoxicated, like he straight throwed on that liquor. And his so-called white friends are pouring milk and all other types of stuff on him and treating him like trash. So check this out.
I was trying to explain to my class the other evening the confusion people have of equating sameness with equality. You want your children to have the same education as white children. Then if you do, you want them to stay oppressed.
Trauma continues.
Yes. You don't want them to be educated in terms of their unique history. You don't want them to be educated in terms of their learning styles. You don't want them to be educated in terms of the problems they have to solve for themselves. You don't want them to be educated in terms of the reality of the fact that they are oppressed. Not white children.
Thank you.
No, you want them educated as if they were white children.
We need to understand what happened.
That is the surest way to maintain oppression. To ignore one's reality.
I'm just saying. Well, let's look at it again. Let's just look at it again, and because it's crazy. We need to understand, because it's like, you know, we're always talking about white acceptance and being in white spaces and what success is and how will you actually make it in America? Because the idea is to get to America and then get into white spaces. But once you get into white spaces, what the trauma continues, you increase your chance of the trauma continuing because of the experiences that you will have, the negative experiences that a black person will have, especially dealing with people who practice the system of white supremacy. Let's look at it again. I'm gonna mute it so I can talk, but let's just look at it again. He's intoxicated, and they're just pouring milk and all other types of stuff on him, mocking them, ridiculing them, and wiping his, well, not even really wiping his face, but making a fool out of him. Look at this. This is humiliating for this young man. Look at this. And it's funny for them because he's a nobody. That's why I'm glad we're covering Dr. Joy Degruy, because she talk about that vacant esteem. This is somebody who's in the space to where his esteem came from wanting to be accepted by the same people who will literally wipe their asses with his soul. Think about that. Think about you having a need to be accepted by a group of people who will literally wipe their ass with your soul. That's crazy. So let me take that off. He said, yes, sir, it's killing potential and purpose, fam. I fast, study, spend time in solitude to develop self before. Hey, you got to make sure you straight before you go out into this world. And if you don't, because that's the whole thing about mental health, right? True mental health is preparing us to fortify our minds to go out into this messed up world and not allow this messed up world to seep in and mess us up. That's true mental health. Mental health isn't about making the world bend to you and the world being soft and the world making you feel good. No, real mental health is about us fortifying our minds, fortifying ourselves to make sure that we can go out into this messed up world and not be affected by this messed up world. True mental health, right? But we were conditioned a specific way. And now I'm transitioning into the larger conversation. We were conditioned a specific way to behave a specific way. The Negro mindset, the NIGGA. The NIGGA was created specifically to be a self-destructive degenerate. Somebody who would not challenge the system of white supremacy. It's a specific mindset that was instilled into us. Because if you instill that mindset and you do it the right way, like they said in the Willie Lynch letter, it will last for 350 years. And it's done its job. But that doesn't mean we have to continue having that specific mindset. That doesn't mean that all of us have to be that. Like Big Crit said, I don't want to be another. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where the field of black psychology comes in. And in the field of black psychology, that's where it's giving us a different framework, giving us a different mindset, giving us a different programming so we can exist as healthy, functional, civilized people, but not within a Eurocentric view, but in an African-centered or Black American-centered worldview, right? Say B12, vitamin D, L-triazine, those brain elements. I hope you discuss this frequently because it's horrible. Hey, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not a health guru. So I just, hey, if you're a health guru and that's things we want to talk about, email me, hit me up. I know how to stay in my lane. I can help frame the topic, but I try not to talk about what I don't know about. But hey, if you know more about it than I do and you got your stuff together on, hey man, hit me up, email me, let's talk. So Sarah Garvey is a commentator, is a YouTuber who I first came across during COVID, during the height of the, I guess you could say, during the rise of the relationship podcast. During COVID, when a lot of people was home and all they had to do was sit home and talk about relationships and stuff. And Sarah Garvey became notable and known through the at the time the platform was called Just Pearly Things, but it's that white girl Pearl Davis. And Pearl Davis is known big in the relationship space, in the black manosphere space, unsuspectedly, in the UK. And so Sarah Garvey became known on that platform, and then from there they had a falling out. Him and Pearl had a falling out. He felt she was treating him like she was his colonizer, and so they had a falling out. So now he's on this thing, and like his rhetoric and all these things have changed. And so now he and I believe the brother is Cluster View Official. They're having a conversation, and they're talking about the Black Americans specifically, and that's where he stepped on the landmine, right? Because the title of the video is "The Black American, a Laboratory Creation," asking the question, are Black Americans a laboratory creation? Now, I had my own commentary on this video. We go check out the Frank and Negro video that I did, because that was my commentary on Sarah Garvey talking about the Black Americans, our experience and all of that, right? Because you can't just go around analyzing people that you don't really know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that. We don't go around analyzing people that we don't know about. But they did, and they stepped in some boo-boo. And it created a lot of backlash once again. We even made me I think no, it was a live video, so I even went in on it, right? But it caught wind of Dr. Ma'at, because he mentioned Dr. Joy Degruy in that. He used Dr. Joy Degruy's post-traumatic slave syndrome, her theories in there, her findings in there. He used that to frame his disingenuous argument, because his Dr. Joy Degruy was not just talking about what happened to the mind of the Black American. She was talking about what happened to the mind of the Black diaspora. But he used it to try to frame it as, this is what happened to Black Americans specifically, and this is why Black Americans this and this and that. And he might have thought he was trying to be intellectual and smart and all that, but you got to think about certain things before you do it. Because if I make a video trying to psychoanalyze Nigerians, and I only know Nigerians through what I've read and I've seen on TV, not through real experiences and all these things here, I'm gonna look like a jackass. And I expect y'all to tell me, Joseph, shut the hell up, you look like a jackass. His homeboy, well, you can see what kind of shirt his homeboy got on. That's why his homeboy didn't pull his coat and tell him not to do that, because somebody who will wear a shirt like that won't tell somebody the truth. So they got on here and they made themselves look stupid, and that led to Dr. Ma'at saying, hold up, we don't do that. Let me go ahead and get Dr. Joy Degruy and get some straightening on this. And Dr. Joy Degruy is going to give us a rundown, give us more of an education on what post-traumatic slave syndrome truly is and how it relates to the diaspora as a whole. Once again, yes, the degree of colonization is different depending on where you were. Your experience is different depending on where you were, but nevertheless, you were enslaved and colonized, and your brain was put into a blender, scrambled up, and spit back out and put into your head. They gave all of us throughout the diaspora a brand new programming, and that's what we're getting into. So Ty says, I don't like him. He always got something slick to say about FBA, because he think he's smarter than what he actually is with his old surface level self. When his own folk stuff ain't together, he makes clickbait because he knows our social influence help him when he reacts. Of course. But see, like you just said, when his own folk stuff ain't together, well, that's all of the specifically Africans on the continent who have something negative to say about Black Americans. That is, the one up. The one up is always, well, your country is in turmoil. And then they'll be like, well, our country is in turmoil because the white man. Well, if your country is in turmoil because of the white man, and you don't live behind enemy lines, we live behind enemy lines. Don't you think our communities, don't you think Black America would be in turmoil because of the white man as well? But I guess the logic don't keep logicking because it don't benefit you, right? All right, cool. You say, yes, sir, I'm on, fam. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hit me. Hey, look, like I say, I'm not a health guru and I'm not going to pretend to be one. So I'm gonna stay in my lane, but I can facilitate the hell out of a black health conversation. So holla at me. He's an African with a British accent. I'm not, bruh. They so a lot of them are so misguided. Man, this water be busting. Water, I like water. Water be good, man. I remember I was drinking one of these. Somebody like, hey, man, why you drink that like a 40? I didn't even realize I was drinking these things like 40s. Water be busting though. That's why I call these 40s now. And be like, and if y'all ever be like hearing me saying I be drinking 40s, this is what I be talking about. These my new 40s. Take it back to the 80s and 90s. You know, Uptight 24 is up in the mother loving field. What's going on, my brother? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? You know, it ain't no show if you ain't up in here. Appreciate you. I already know these positive Tuesday vibes on this good holiday. I had to bring it to y'all a little early. Why go late when we can go early? That way we can go a little longer. We're going to do what we do. So let's get into this conversation with Sarah Garvey and Cluster View Official. Yeah, let's do it. Make sure y'all hit that like button, please. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Now, I'm starting the video at a point where they're talking about like the mindset and the creation of the Negro. Once again, a man who will wear a shirt like that would not tell you the truth. So, let's go.
In order to defend and protect the women and children who were left on the plantations when the white males went to war. The slaves would have laid down their lives. So conditioning. So I mentioned this because I want to talk about conditioning. It's about being taught to think a certain way. So now,
there's a book called The Miseducation of the Negro.
Oh yeah, I read that.
The Miseducation of the Negro, and in it he says that because of the conditioning of the quote-unquote Negro, right? Negroes were used to going into the big house via the back door. They weren't allowed to go in via the front door, right? And he's actually said something that was quite funny. He said, if there's no back door, a Negro will build a back door and then go through it.
Now, remember, we're actively reading The Miseducation of the Negro right here on this channel right now. We're reading that right now on this channel. And so we know, yes, Carter G. Woodson is analyzing from a Black American viewpoint, but he's not just talking about Black American people. He's talking about Negro people, Negroid people throughout the diaspora. All of our psychologists are talking about Negroid people throughout the diaspora, how the mind was twisted via colonization. But see, that's my problem with people. Like, you got to learn to stay in your lane, man. You got to know your lane and stay in your lane and stop trying to be an expert in everybody else's lane. So the hustle life says, I'm convinced that Africans, Caribbeans, and Haitians have pretty much given up on controlling their countries. So they've decided to try to replace FBA. If that's the case, man, then stop crying foul and just say it. You know, if that's the case, just say it, just be upfront about it. Says they give him, I'm just saying, Ty. We got to represent, Ty. We gonna rise above the ignorant bald brothers, Ty. We gonna rise because we ain't going for it. I feel you, Ty. Let me get it right. I feel you, Ty. Man, I knew you was cool. I knew you was a real one. Part of the issue with aspects of Black American culture being exported around the world is that people in other places start thinking they're part of the culture. Oh, God damn it, rather than observers of it. Yes. They personalize it for themselves and they think they truly right. So they think they are really truly a part of us, but then we'll criticize Americans who come to their country and do the same thing. The hypocrisy of the people. But the reason black folk do that around the globe is because our minds have been scrambled by the white supremacists. So they are proving our points in their actions of trying to act like they're different. In the damn it, I can't get it out, but trying to separate themselves from us, trying to look down on bad Black American behavior. They're overlooking their own things and being hypocritical. We can't move forward like that, but we know that there's some bad apples in all bags, but we can't allow the bad apples to define all of us. And right now, that's one of the main things that's going wrong in this diaspora wars. We letting the bad apples define everybody, but that goes back to how messed up our brains are. Yep. Peace, Ernest Smith. Again, we of U.S. Antichrist are bamboozled because African Moors rescued Neanderthals in 7-Eleven rescue. We are not Africans. Most of us are indigenous, copper colored, melanin. Hey man, call yourself what you want. Like I'm always say, I don't get into the name game. Call yourself what you want. We all should have the same mission. We all in the same position. We should all know who the enemy is. As long as you know what the play is and what you're supposed to do, you call yourself what you want. You want to be a tight end, be a tight end. I'm going to be a left tackle, whatever. Call yourself what you want. But as long as we understand to keep our eyes on the prize and who the enemy is, as long as we understand the mission, as long as we understand what we're supposed to be doing, I don't get caught up in the name game. Real hey, look, y'all think the real PhD was cooking today? Wait till Saturday. I'm just saying. And she went to FAMU. That's all I'm saying. We both graduated from the same psychology program at FAMU. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The sad part is I'm just Venus. Dr. Claude Anderson told us that if we don't learn to win as a team, we're going to lose as a team, even if we don't want to be a team. I'm just saying, Venus, you are correct. Most coaches think FBA coaches, everybody's coaching and can't exploit it as necessary. Right. They think they can exploit it. They think they can analyze it. They think they can do anything with FBA coaching. But once again, that's because we've done a horrible job of gatekeeping. But that goes back to the psychology of an oppressed people. What is the psychology of an oppressed people? But that's where Black psychology comes in. Unfortunately, it is analyzing the psychology of an oppressed people who were once the leaders of the world. We have low IQs, more distance from Africa to be this white man's dog. We still don't want that independence like Malcolm. No, we don't. But that go back to the conditioning. Logos Black. That go back to the conditioning. Let them rattlers strike. That's how my mama said. Them rattlers got to strike again. But let's get back into the conversation. Let's get back. Listen to these guys stumble over their words. Please hit that like button because we cooking today. We cooking.
Because he knows that much that he's not allowed in through the front door. And so a conditioning.
Let me show you something that makes me furious every time I see it. This is a real tax return from someone making $284,972 per year in a W-2 income. Take a look at this. Line 16, the federal tax alone is $85.
In the Americas has been done to Black people. I said a lot of Black people in America won't like it, but it's not my words. There's a woman by the name of Dr. Joy Leary.
Okay, here we go.
She is a psychologist, Black psychologist in America, American Black woman. And she talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome, is what she calls it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? And essentially, Black people in America were taken, like, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place and the leg from this place and the head from this place. Yep. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics, kind of thing?
they're severed from what they were. You see, the black people on the continent of Africa, they still have, even though they were colonized and enslaved on their continent, they still, because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized, they weren't totally severed from who they were. The black American is severed from who they were.
You lying, you ain't never met Dr. Martin Luther King.
Man, Africans on the continent are as scrambled up as black Americans. And that's what he don't get. He doesn't really understand what Dr. Joy Degruy was getting at, because she was not talking about just the psychology of black Americans. Even she's going to talk about it. But why does Frantz Fanon exist? Why is his work so phenomenal? Who was Frantz Fanon examining? Frantz Fanon was examining continental Africans, the mind, the psychology of continental Africans, and the psychology of Africans in the Caribbean. And if you read Wretched of the Earth, if you read Black Skin, White Mask, they're not centered in Black America. He's talking about the broken psychology of the continental African and the Caribbean African, right? His work is no different than Dr. Joy Degruy's work. Matter of fact, Frantz Fanon, from transitioning from reading Black Skin, White Mask to reading The Miseducation of the Negro, they're literally talking about the same thing. They're literally talking about the same thing, it's just in different places. The degree of the colonization is the difference. The degree of how your mind was scrambled, whether you were in Martinique or Montgomery, Alabama, it would be the degree of the colonization. But both were colonized. Both were stripped of the essentials. The continental African or the Caribbean African may not have been stripped of more than the African in the United States, but nevertheless, your humanity overall was stripped from you. Your autonomy was stripped from you. Your sovereignty was stripped from you. Manhood was stripped. Womanhood was stripped. The ability to self-actualize was stripped. A new psychology was given to all of us throughout the diaspora. A brand new psychology was given. What are we talking about? We just laying the foundation for him. I was finna call him bald head, but I remembered I was bald head too, so I can't do that. But yeah. Don't worry. We just laying the foundation, my brother. I'm happy you here though. I'm happy you here. We just laying the foundation. And still over 500 years later, the African continental is still in turn. I'm just saying, find me a place around the globe where Africans or people of African descent, people of the African diaspora, really got it together without colonial help. We're gonna get into it, but this ain't the main video. We're gonna get into it. But this is how we get into it. We gotta make sure we understand. Continental Africa, I'm just saying. Yep. He says we were separate, but then tried to claim our food, our music, our hoodoo, etc. as Africans. So which is it? We were cut off, or have we transmuted to something? They don't know. He don't know. He's just talking. Do they know the difference between chattel slavery and being just slaves? No, they don't. I'll tell you, it's surface level. It's a surface level conversation because they don't really understand. Well, you can have all those natural resources, but if you don't have control of that, if you don't have control of your mind and your humanity, you're not gonna have control over your resources. That's all I'm saying. And let them finish this little part so we can get to the grand video.
and then cultivated and created into this being. So they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have a natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that created them.
Okay, but we're all,
so when you talk about miseducation, they're not miseducated, they're educated in the way that the people that created them to be educated by. How? The fear was educated into them. The violence educated into them. Everything was educated into them via the people that cultivated them. So they're not miseducated. They're educated. They are moving along the exact line that they're supposed to move down, because the people that created them that way created them for them to be like this.
So they are completely. So just no disrespect to Americans.
No, it's not a disrespect.
So in other words, it's like you're saying that they're completely lost. Unless they follow that trajectory, and they continue.
They're completely.
But how do they go from being the person that was, protecting the master and supporting and being, come back as the wounded, looking after them, to the person that now is so anti-white and the hatred towards white people?
Black people don't hate white people.
You don't think that's the case?
They say they do, but they don't. And this is where I get controversial. All right. If black people hated white people, if they really hated them, they would treat them the same way that they were treated. They don't. They love them. So what happens when a white person? They love them.
I don't hate white people.
No, I'm not talking. I don't hate white people. But when you said that,
from America.
But you said that they hate them, and I'm saying they don't hate them. They love them.
But there's definitely anti-whiteness. There's definitely no man.
Let me tell you something.
I see it, dude. I got tons of. Dude. If I have to put this stuff online, of like people on TikTok talking about, this, almost the disdain for white.
It's lip service. It's lip service. It's not.
God's sake, man.
Mark Anthony.
What's going on?
Mark Anthony. If I hated you, which I don't, bro, right? I would do something to you. If I hated you, I could say, "Oh, you see that Mark Anthony? He's a this, he's a this, he's a blah, he's a blah blah." It's lip service. You used to be in a gang. If someone's talking about doing something, what's worse? Someone talking about doing something or someone doing something?
Someone doing something.
Right. So, because people can talk all the time. Did you hear that someone said this about you? Whatever he said was so. They don't really hate you, because if they really hated you, bro, they'd do something to you, bro.
All right. But what he don't realize is the larger part is that means no black people throughout the world hate white people, because ain't none of us doing nothing. Ain't none of us doing nothing to the white man. I'm just saying. First of all, the type of hate white people have is not once again, when you are surface level, when you don't really understand what you're trying to break down, that's what happened. It says, despite what this man said, FBA still have the warrior spirit. We fight, we don't flee. He just talking, right? His logic works on himself, but he is being obvious. I'm just saying, well, I believe he's Nigerian, Ghanaian and Nigerian, and we can see the state of those countries. They're not fighting back for nothing. But like I say, so that video pissed a lot of people off. As you can see, it's still pissing people off. And so Dr. Ma'at caught wind of this, and Dr. Ma'at called up Dr. Joy Degruy to get some straightening on her ideology of the post-traumatic slave syndrome. And one of the reasons Dr. Ma'at says is she doesn't want the new generation. She don't want some young people to be looking at this video and think that Dr. Joy Degruy was psychoanalyzing Black Americans in some kind of surface level negative kind of way. She was giving us an example of what happened to the mind of the Black people throughout the diaspora, and Dr. Joy Degruy talks about that. So why not let Dr. Joy Degruy explain herself? So that's what we're gonna get into. That's what we get into. So make sure you go use the bathroom if you need to. Go get your popcorn, wash your hands if you use the bathroom, get you something to drink. I got my 40 with me, and we getting into it, man. We're gonna get our learn on today. We're gonna put our learning hat on today, and we're gonna let Dr. Joy Degruy, teach us. So let's get into it. Is y'all ready? Is y'all ready? Tell me if you ready. Say I sure is. If you ready, first of all, if you ready for this video, hit that like button. And then in the comments, put I sure is. Because we about to get into it. Dr. Joy Degruy and Dr. Ma'at about to bless us with this information. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let me share my screen. And once again, another big shout out to Dr. Ma'at for her platform, for her work, all the work that she's done in STEM with the black youth. I love how her and Brother Unc come from a scientific point of view rather than dropping that pseudoscience. Uptight. I already know you ready, Uptight. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Trump said he might invade Nigeria over them massacring Christians, although it's an obvious justification for colonialism. I think he should worry about his own folks. They never worry about their own folks. They never worry about their own folks. My man Ricardo Float is up in the building. You already know what it is. Welcome, Ricardo, man. Welcome to this Tuesday, early Tuesday live, man. I appreciate you being here. I sure live. Let's do it. Hey, Dr. Joy Degruy, Dr. Ma'at. Let me stop talking. Let's get to learning.
Brother Tim, I see you. He said, I see you, Dr. Ma'at. I click, I'm happy. Baba Gregory Turns is in the building. I just saw you, Baba, at the memorial service. But peace and love to you, Baba. He said, Hotep, Dr. Ma'at. I made it in time. Good seeing you again. Looking forward to the talk tonight. Race First is in the building, says a BB Fahodier.
Hold on. So Dr. Akbar is still living. Dr. Akbar lives not too far from me. Dr. Akbar is still alive. He lives here in Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah, he did teach at Florida State. He is still living. I run into him time to time in the grocery store, in one of the Publix grocery stores. I run into him time to time, and I am associates with his son, Mutaki Akbar. So I'm working on it. That's what I'm working on. I've been thinking about that. I'm working on getting that interview with Dr. Naeem Akbar. So Ricardo Float is in the building. So the hustle life, I'm working on that one, but let's get back into it.
He's first Ashe. So I see S.A. Smith said peace to everyone. S.O. I see S.O. is in the building. S.O. says this, be strong, our powerful queen. Oh yeah, very happy to invite our great scholar, Mama Degruy. It's your African brother Eso from the Togo. So Queen Mother, we had people from the Togo all over watching it. He said, peace and love, make our motherland Africa great again. Ashe. And so Queen Mother, I had to reach out to you, Doc. And let me be honest why I reached out to you. I reached out to you because of your work, right? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. And lately there have been some videos that have gone viral. And what I've noticed is people are taking your work and they are misrepresenting it, they're misconstruing it, they're misinterpreting it, all of the misses, right? I'm just and to try to say that Black Americans or Africans in America, or some people say foundational Black Americans, some people say an American descendants of slavery. We have all these different terms now, but they're trying to make the point that we are a created people, that we were created by white folks, that we have no culture, we have no values, that we have no identity, because they're saying the culture and identity and values and even principles that we have, it was all given to us by white folks. Actually, the person whose video went viral, they said that Black people in America are like Frankenstein, like we were kind of like put together in a sense, because we were, in his words, totally severed from the continent. And so I will be honest with you, Dr. Joy Degruy, I laughed when I saw it. I was like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? But the mere fact that it went viral, I took issue with that, because there's a whole nother generation who may have not heard of you and your work. They may not have read it.
You, Ricardo.
And their introduction now to Dr. Joy Degruy's work is, oh, you know, this woman created this concept that's saying that Black Americans have no culture, identity, they're Frankensteins, they're this. And I said, no. So to me, I thought it was very important that I reach out to you just to have a discussion with you about post-traumatic slave syndrome Could you unpack this? Like, when did you write it, and why, and what are you talking about? Because some people just don't know. They just don't know, Doc.
And there's a revised update of that.
Oh, I gotta get it. I gotta get that.
But aside from that, you know,
Yes.
I think the concept was born in a lot of different ways. First of all, it was the first iteration of it was in 2005 when the book was published, and I believe it really came from where it comes from everybody else who it resonates with. People who don't even know what it means that hear post-traumatic slave syndrome go, yeah. You know, they don't even know what it means, but it resonates because it makes sense. You can't go through 300 and plus years, 100 years of trauma and there not be some residual impact, good or bad. Something had to happen. And for me, I think it began with me growing up in a household where being Black was a very healthy, normal, and true sense of who we were. So I never was confused about my Blackness. My parents are from Louisiana, and in addition to that, my grandfather is from Belize, and I did the DNA, and I'm from the Mende tribe. Okay, so we were clear. But my father, who went to the 6th grade, called himself an Asiatic Black man before Black was beautiful. My father had a real sense of who we were as a people. So I didn't grow up with any disparaging perspectives of my Blackness. However, I grew up around hearing it, right? Now I'm 68 years old. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, and I would hear all the kind of degrading things that people were saying. Oh, she was really pretty, even though she was dark. He was nice looking, he was light skinned, he had good hair, all that, and I would listen to that. And I would also hear people who were mad at me because,
Sion, what's going on, Sion?
And before anybody would beat you up or jump on you,
appreciate
they would curse you out first, right? They would call you out of your name. But the first thing they would call you was Black. You Black, fill in the blank. You Black. And, I remember as a kid going, was that supposed to, you Black too? What are we talking about?
Right.
But when I got in my little kid mind and understanding that they were seeking to hurt me by calling me Black, that's when the bells went off in my head. What is wrong with this picture? Because, I didn't, hear white kids, you white, I didn't hear it anywhere else, but I heard it with us. And I'm going, what is that, right? So I think it was always kind of there, the question in my mind about some of the things I saw us do and say that I didn't understand because I was a kid, for one thing,
question,
right? And a couple of those things that I've actually talked about, kind of got out there, and then it was kind of a roller coaster because Black people were kind of going, yeah, I remember that. That's what my grandmother used to say. And, all of a sudden it becomes something that we become aware of that we never interrogated or questioned. It just got passed along, right? And so as I started to look at some of those behaviors, some of those attitudes, I wanted to understand their ideology because they weren't African. I've been in 7 countries in Africa. It wasn't an African thing, but it is a Caribbean thing. It is an African American thing. It is, those throughout the diaspora who were traumatized by this specific kind of enslavement.
So you hear her saying that. You hear her saying that this is something that happened to the diaspora. Wow. Sarah Garvey was making the argument, and he made a whole video surrounding this is what happened to the Black American. But she's talking about what happened to Black people throughout the diaspora. Can you imagine if Dr. Claude Anderson and Dr. Joy Degruy would have had, oh man, that would have been crazy, man. That would have been crazy. That child would be excellent. Not most of the unconscious are too dangerous for women and children to be around. Look at all the revolutionaries that have helped people. Says, I was just thinking about how far the extent we've been had and do. Yep. And so it's like we know why we have an abundance of people who we would call unconscious. And then we have a group of people that we would call conscious. Now, how are we defining unconscious and how are we defining conscious? Are we defining that through our actions, or are we defining that through how we speak? If we can collect information. And I'm saying that because going back to what Dr. Amos Wilson say, what Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about, what Carter G. Woodson is talking about, like your education should prepare you to solve your problems. To be my new definition of consciousness is I am able to solve my problems with the information that I have. And if I can't solve my problems with the information that I have, am I truly conscious? Right? And so, but getting back to what Dr. Joy Degruy is talking about, she's talking about how the total minds of the diaspora has been made unconscious, if we want to go ahead and use those words, right? The mind of the diaspora as the whole, black people throughout the diaspora, that's why we behave the way we do. That's why the infighting is so rampant. That's why the diaspora wars is going on and they ain't gonna stop. And they didn't just start with the internet. The internet put a spotlight on what people was already saying behind closed doors. Lacking morality and cultural values are unconscious. I just had this discussion with Zola Mondays with AB Silas. Yes, lacking morality and cultural values are unconscious, and not being able to create anything for yourself and your people lets you know that you are unconscious. If you do not have the answers to the questions, you are unconscious. Epigenetic generational transmission of trauma within. Yes. None of us is safe. If you are within the African diaspora, you are not safe from the epigenetic generational transmission and trauma. There you go. Back to the video.
Chattel slavery was very different from any other form of enslavement. Slavery wasn't new. This is with the pushback I got immediately. Well, you guys enslaved each other. Well, so did you. Matter of fact, there were very few societies in the world that did not have some form of enslavement or servitude. Really important to know that even on the continent of Africa, they didn't even look at it as slavery the way we look at slavery.
Teach.
I mean, I'm just learning this from African scholars, having spent some time there, and really talking about the forms of enslavement that existed on the continent prior to invasion of the Europeans, right? So I'm beginning to take a look at, in this investigation, in this research, I want to understand why and how we got to be who we are today. And we are incredible. We are incredible people.
Absolutely.
Far be it for anyone to suggest that we are damaged goods or any of that, right? It's about really understanding how we survived this and in what way we survived. And surviving isn't always pretty.
Right.
You do what you have to do. So
Right.
post-traumatic slave syndrome, the best way I can share it is, aside from the obvious ones in terms of our denigration of our bodies, our skin color, the shape of our lips, our butts, I mean, you name it. And one of the more recent things that came up that kind of jumps out for me, especially for young audiences. You had the young sister, Gabby, who was a gymnast.
Yes.
Who won gold. Remember she won gold?
Yes, she won the gold. Yes.
That girl did stuff that, defied human ability.
Yes.
Won herself a gold. And the chatter was about her hair.
Her hair. Yeah, I remember.
And to me, that was one of, and it broke her heart.
Yeah, it did. She started wearing weaves. Remember, she started wearing the weaves, and yeah.
It was just.
She did. It was
awful
bad.
What
was awful.
happened to her from her people.
Absolutely.
She just doesn't want a gold medal, and all we could think about is her natural hair coming out.
But that's the self-hatred that the diaspora as a whole has, because Black women around the diaspora, especially those who are exposed to this westernized stuff, wear those wigs, have that mindset, have that self-hatred, the skin bleaching, the wanting to have the European features, the secret obsessions of white men. Those things happen. And of course, we know the men are not exempt, but you're talking specifically about something that happened that was on display for the world. Gabby Douglas was in the Olympics kicking ass, and the black women were ridiculing her because her hair wasn't done and she was doing an athletic competition. But that just shows you what Dr. Jordan, the group, talks about, that vacant esteem, that lack of self-esteem, that self-hatred. But that's just not a Black American thing. Black people around the world are like that. Look at how we treat each other. Look at how we treat each other.
And being seen, right? So what I look at, when I look at that, I'm going, where is the ideology of that? I've been in Africa, nobody's talking about your hair. That wasn't, in the places I've been anyway, not to mention that we are influencing folks in the wrong way in Africa, but there, in terms of the culture itself, this is not one that has this introspective, hatred, and this kind of vitriol for one another, because you see, if you don't present yourself correctly, then it affects the whole race, right? That's kind of like that whole idea was, somebody got shot on the corner of 55th and Hoover. Were they Black?
Hey, hustle life. Ain't no shade. Hustle life. I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I can walk to FAMU. I was just at FAMU homecoming a couple of weeks ago. I saw the horrible weaves. You ain't offending nobody. You ain't doing but telling the truth. We seen it. We seen the dudes out there in pajamas and the girls out there in the weeds. We seen it.
Everybody wonders, please tell me they were Black. What would it mean if they were? Nobody white does that. What was it? Were they white? Oh, the one that came in and shot up everybody in the school. I wonder if they're thinking, was he white? Because, right? And what does that mean in the scheme of things? Ty. So post-traumatic is not...
Right, Ty.
It's not an unusual thing. We've looked at generational trauma with other people. I just bothered to look at us. And when I did that, it was like, oh my God, what is she saying? What is anybody saying of a group of people that have experienced extreme trauma? And nobody over hundreds of years like us in the way that we did. Now, if you go to India, you go to any other place, you will find tremendous oppression and assault on human beings. But it has an impact. Hence, Holocaust, right? We've been studying.
Mr. Kebulon, email me, because I'm going to be honest, I can't think off the top of my head right now. Put my email in. Email me. I can't think off the top of my head now about more Boulay and AB side stuff, but hit me up.
Holocaust, my God, how long? And to this day, Jewish people are receiving reparations. To this day. So what we have to appreciate is that when there's devastation, when there is a natural disaster, there is trauma associated with that. War, trauma, right? So when you start looking at these things, we know that. It's not unusual. But when I started talking about Black people and trauma, everybody got in their feelings. It was
because you start talking about what they've been doing to us.
How could you, when people say to me, I don't understand how you could see any connection, and I don't understand how you couldn't.
Right. I don't understand either.
Unless we're not human.
I was getting ready to say they still view us as subhuman, but go ahead, Doc.
No. Hold on. Exactly. We are still viewed as pets, property, subhuman, labor, tools, sexual objects, all those things. Doctor, I'm not even gonna spoil it, but Dr. Degruy, if I haven't passed it already, she talks about she illustrates the story of how Black people were not even just seen as property or a tool, but used as property and tools. That's how they see us. They brought us here in that manner. And for them, if you practice the system of white supremacy, you still see us as property, as a tool, as a pet. That's how they view us. Get it in your heads. It was part of the psychological shaping of our minds. It's part of making us who we are.
Me. And again, the book is called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing. Okay. The whole purpose of the book was that last chapter, which says healing. You cannot heal what you don't understand.
Come on.
You cannot heal what you're unwilling to look at or even discuss. When people say to me, you know, they'll say, well, you just need to get over it. I dare you to tell Jewish people to get over it.
They would never do that. Never.
Right? But get over it. First of all, get over what? Because we weren't educated about it. Let's be clear. I have 4 degrees. 3 of them are advanced degrees. None of them taught me what I used to write that book. None of them. So I had to do a deep dive into research around me and my people and my culture that none of my education taught me. And so as a result of that, you know, everybody's kind of looking in the information in post-traumatic. It's not provocative. It's history. Truth. It's not even hard to find.
Right.
It just was left out, deliberately left out. And when we start looking at what it means to heal, we haven't even interrogated what the injury is.
Come on.
Right.
So what I decided to take a look at is, what is the injury? What did we of course we're resilient. Look at us, right? So let's think about it. Looking at the 1500s when the first enslaved Africans were taken to the Carolinas, the dates that I'm looking at, everybody got different dates, but that's the date I'm looking at.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
339 years, approximately 339 years. Okay, so let's just do the math. Anybody that's watching this, if someone comes into your room where you are right now and shoots you, not fatally, but shoots you, I think we could agree you were traumatized by that. Being
absolutely
shot.
Absolutely.
If there is someone in the room with you, they're traumatized. Your loved one who was coming home from work drives up, hears the shot, didn't see it, traumatized. They call your family in Louisiana, they're traumatized. So we're talking about a single trauma that can produce stress-related illness requiring intervention and medication, whether it was direct or indirect.
That's right.
Now, just take that. A lot of people say, but of course, everybody, weren't there happy slaves? That's what people, weren't there some happy ones? Yeah, we got some happy ones now. So yeah, there was some. But here's the thing. Here's what I know as a social scientist. Not one trauma, not 2 traumas, but a lifetime of traumas.
Right.
You want to know what they are?
Right.
Raped.
Great.
Being worked to near death.
Worked to death.
Starvation. Being experimented on. Being sold. You name it. Just pick one. But we're looking at one, but a lifetime of that. And then generations of that. And here's a question. Just so nobody thinks I'm being hyperbolic. Anybody remember any help? Anybody? Dr. Phil, nobody showed up? No, they said, we're going to do a little group therapy with you now because we know we raped your children in front of you. We sold your husband. And we, come on. No, we know no help. So you got no help when that happened. And then you got freed.
Right.
Yay.
Right.
Any help then? No, just give me, it brought people together. They, any deliberate, intentional assistance to heal the wounds that were created from all of that assault.
Right.
No. 339 years of trauma. No help. Then you got freed. No help. Did the trauma continue?
Yes.
Yes. Because all those lynchings, got some new ones coming up now, by the way.
Absolutely.
Some new ones. But okay, all those lynchings, all of that stuff that happened, Jim Crow, all of those burning down, all of that, that's after slavery. So now let's do the math again. 339 years of trauma, no help. Freed, no help. More trauma.
No help.
What we are is a miracle.
And let's take a second to soak in what she just said. Please, let's soak in and analyze what she just said. It's amazing. Let me make myself. It's amazing we're not way more insane than what we are now. It's amazing we're not ripping each other apart. It's amazing we're not ripping this country apart for what they programmed us to become. It's amazing that the number of us who have sense actually still have some sense. What does that say about us as a people? Yes, we could talk about our many flaws, and we have many flaws, and a lot of those flaws are built in, but we have many flaws. But if you stop and think about what she's saying from a historical standpoint and really analyze the things that have happened to us here in America, and this is not just on some feel-good history stuff. This is some real stuff, right? Because I'm not saying it to make you feel good, because this is not the feel-good channel. I'm just being real, right? So we've been through some of the worst atrocities in human history. Think about, just imagine the worst thing you can do to a human being and multiply that times 1,000. And that was the experience of like one lifetime, one person's lifetime. And then you're thinking about all the experiences that all the Black people had throughout the diaspora. But even if we're thinking about the experiences of the ancestors, of our ancestors here in this land that became the United States of America under the system of chattel slavery, when they totally dehumanized the hell out of us, and they literally constructed us to become some of the worst vile human beings. They created niggas. They made us into niggas. They molded our mind into this niggatry. And then we still have the spirit in us to reject the niggatry and want to be better and fight to be better and have a need to be better, have a hunger to be better, and even teach our youth to be better. What the hell does that say about who we truly are? Think about that. Think about who we are at the core. We are not this degenerated people that's running around. That's not who we are at the core. That's what happens to us when we are negatively programmed under the system of white supremacy. That's what happens to us. We're supposed to behave like that with that type of programming. You can't, if you take a seed, if you take a healthy seed and you take that healthy seed and plant that seed into some toxic ass soil, if something grows out of that, it's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be healthy. But the fact that something was able to grow out of that. But think about us though, right? With our story, we were that healthy seed that was planted in that unhealthy soil. We grew out of that soil and then thought about it. You know what? I can be better. I can be stronger. I can be healthier. Their whole mission, their whole goal was to make us so docile, so weak that we would never, ever think about fighting for our freedom. That was their whole goal. So like Neely Fuller laid it out. All 9 areas of human activity, they decided to colonize and dominate because they knew that they have to continuously, there has to be an onslaught of continuous warring against us. And they knew that if they didn't do that, we would rise. We will multiply, we would rise. We will multiply, we would rise. That's what she's getting at. That's what she's getting at. That's what our psychologist been trying to tell us for the longest. That's why I love Dr. Amos Wilson. He keeping it real. Look, forget your feelings, forget feeling good. This is what actually happened to us. We have to stop being so emotional about learning what has happened to us, because damn it, it happened. Let's learn it. Put your feelings to the side. Let's learn it. Let's deal with it. And what have we learned from this, and how do we grow from this, and how do we take the shackles off of our damn minds? We have to be understanding that. Got to be understanding that. So yeah. They do keep experimenting on us. It says, family, I'm from where what I and many believe and know is home in more than one way. Southern California's South African, aka Eden, aka Canaan. Best believe we love you, not only because there we go. Like, look, man, we in this thing together. We are America. We are greater than what we understand. That's why they made it to where most of us won't study ourselves. We won't learn ourselves. We won't understand how great we can actually be, but we have to activate that. Once again, this ain't no feel good stuff. We have to activate it. It's potential at this point. So how do you turn this potential into a reality? We are also true brothers and sisters, in my own opinion. We are miracles. There you go. Said facts. Them folks straight didn't give up. Yep. Our endurance is immaculate. It is. Our resilience is one of our superpowers. Don't drink the milk, the Kool-Aid, the wine, the beer, none of that. Lady V, what's going on? I didn't get the notification for this video. Oh, thank you. YouTube be tripping, Lady V. YouTube be straight tripping. So make sure throughout the week you check out my post. That's why I'm always put a post up to let you know when I'm going live, what time I'm going live. Shout out to Nemesis X for giving me that tip to check out them posts, because the post gonna always let you know, because YouTube be hating because we're speaking truth. And shout out to the 63 people up in here. Please hit that like button. YouTube be shadow banning because they know we be dropping truth. We ain't just in here to make you feel good, because the feel good channels, they don't shadow ban. Now let me get through these so we can get back to of a whole lot to feel good about. Yep. But we got a whole lot of work to do. While producing the most inspirational music of the world, we endure it with grace. We got it. Dr. Degruy is researcher, BS Speech Communication, Portland State, MSW Social Work, Portland State. There you go. It's beyond time to make the Nabiscos uncomfortable. I love when you call them Nabiscos. Yep. That them opposes hiding in the shadows. And that's because what they taught us is who they are. There you go. Like Tupac said, we are the rose that grew from the concrete, and we got to make sure as many roses bust through this concrete as possible. I worked at Tesla. Many Indians worked there, chopped it with one darker than me. I mentioned the Untouchables. His eyes lit up. We were tight after that. He said, you know about them? Hey, the blacker you are, the worse they treat you across the globe. The white man gave it to the boule, celebrities, entertainers. Yep. We are the symbolic eagles amongst literal chickens. We can be the phoenix if we choose. The system is global. The response must be the same. If we aren't safe anywhere, we aren't safe everywhere. Damn it, there you go. That get a star. There you go. Because that's the truth. There you go. Said how genetics survived and thrived versus the so-called Native American. That's real. That's real history, though. That's real history. I was just having this conversation earlier today. I think me and Pat was having this conversation. Either me and Pat, me and my homie Juanita was talking about, our resilience allowed us to survive. Because if not, we wouldn't be here. Amos Wilson is the truth, man. Our genetics survived and thrived. There you go. Wake up and live. Put your dream to reality. Black unity. Hey. So, anything about Jewish melanin conventions beginning in 1936, heard about? Nah. Email me that information. But let's get back into it. What we're talking to.
We're a miracle. We did all this with no help. Okay. Now, again, we were ingenious people. We learned what we needed to learn to be able to manage it. We learned to mitigate the harm, even in the midst of being harmed.
There you go, Ricardo.
You know, Malcolm said, you stick a knife, 9 inches into my back and you pull it out.
Hold on, I'm
That's
sorry.
not progress.
I'm sorry.
No,
Hold on.
no.
I'm sorry.
Even if you
My bad. I'm struggling. Stream. They ain't even on the screen. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah. Dr. Runoko Rashidi is one of my favorites. I'm sorry. Let me back it up.
come on. No, we know no help. So you got no help when that happened, and then you got freed. Yay. Any help then? No, just give me, it brought people together. Any deliberate, intentional assistance to heal the wounds that were created from all of that assault. No. 339 years of trauma. No help. Then you got freed. Yep. No help. Did the trauma continue?
Yes, it did.
Because all those lynchings, got some new ones coming up now, by the way.
Absolutely.
Some new ones. But okay, all those lynchings, all of that stuff that happened, Jim Crow, all of those burning down, all of that, that's after slavery. So now let's do the math again. 339 years of trauma, no help.
Mm-hmm.
Freed, no help.
Mm-hmm.
More trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What we are is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
We're a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
We did all this with no help. Okay. Now, again, we were ingenious people. We learned what we needed to learn to be able to manage it. We learned to mitigate the harm, even in the midst of being harmed. Malcolm said, you stick a knife, 9 inches into my back and you pull it out 3, that's not progress.
No.
Even if you pull it all the way out, it's not.
It's not progress. You got to heal the wound.
Healing the wound, and we haven't pulled the knife out yet. And so when people look at me and they say, well, I don't understand how you can, I'm going, what do you mean? Where do you live? I ask people, did they end segregation in America? Yes, we ended segregation. But every community in the United States has a hood. But there's no sign on the freeway that says next right hood.
Right.
But when you're there, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You know what it looks like, right? Instead of banks, you have check cashing places, right? You got liquor stores, and then you got churches, and you got boarded up houses and police presence and high-end grocery stores. Well, guess who owns the check cashing places?
Yes.
Banks.
Right, Ty.
Guess what? It's a choice. It's a decision. You could even talk. Let me tell you something else you could do. Because see, people always, they don't seem to see the connection. And what
No, that was Dr.
Family,
that was Dr.
Am I breaking up or is she breaking up? Tell me, family, is she breaking up or am I breaking up? Because she was cooking just now.
There you go.
She was cooking just now. You said it's her. Okay, because I was wondering, I was over here being quiet, like, hold up, it's my computer.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, they say you were breaking up. I just kept talking, but they say you were breaking up a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah, but go ahead. But we lost you when you were saying like who owns the check cash in place. You were like bikes, and
banks. And again, we start looking at these are intent. This is intentional. If you want to see it in real time. If you ever been on a road trip, see my father, our idea, my father and my mother, because we grew up working poor, I guess what they would call us. My father would drive to Louisiana. We drove all the way there, right? Mom would pack up all his food. We would get to certain places like Mississippi, and Daddy said we're driving straight through, that kind of thing. You're on a road trip. Well, if you go on a road trip now, you get off the freeway. There, you can tell what neighborhood you're in by the restaurants.
Right.
Absolutely.
If you're coming through, you might see Olive Garden, the Red Lobster. You start seeing, and then all of a sudden you start seeing Popeyes, and you see Burger King and McDonald's, and you've moved into another kind of community.
Absolutely.
These are demarcation lines of segregation, but we bought the illusion of inclusion, the lie of white superiority and black inferiority. That's the first lie. And then we buy the lie of inclusion, which didn't happen. Okay. The bottom line is we can tell you where the hood starts and ends. And so what I did with post-traumatic, I helped people understand that J. Marion Sims, whose statue was only recently, 2018, removed from Central Park, who was the father of modern gynecology, for example. look, Harriet Washington wrote a book called
Listen to what
Medical
she finna get into
Apartheid.
now.
She left nothing unturned.
No stones
hard.
unturned. Absolutely.
But what's deep about it, what I want people to do is I want them to be able to connect the dots. So you have J. Marion Sims, who created this makeshift hospital in his backyard where he conducted experiments on enslaved women, girls, infants with no anesthesia. He cut into people with no anesthesia. And he said the reason he didn't need it is because as Black people, our race made us more durable, and we didn't experience pain the way white people did.
There you go.
Now, you look at that, you go, God, that's barbaric, it's backwards. In 2016, 222 medical students, when asked to imagine the amount of pain a Black person was experiencing versus a white person, consistently believed that we experience less pain. This is 2016. And I listen, don't get me started. You know, I can pull it all out.
Oh, I believe you.
But the bottom line here is the majority of these students were white, and they believed that we had nerve endings that were just less sensitive to pain. No, there is no biological reason, nothing to suggest that. But you see, J. Marion Sims, he had a statue of himself in the middle of Central Park, and beautiful statements about him. This man, I'll roll it up with this. That was women who suffered from what he called, basically, it was an obstetric fistula, is what they had. Right, and it's the breakdown of tissue in the vaginal wall during childbirth. The woman pushes down, which it wasn't a woman first; it was a girl. It was a little girl.
Appreciate you, cool ass Chuck.
In addition to that, she had rickets. In addition to that, she was malnourished, which means that her tissues themselves were compromised. So she would tear all the way through, and he would suture it with no anesthesia. In addition to that, there was a leakage of urine and feces. It was a horrible situation. And he ended up with these women, girls, because the slave owners brought them to Sims and said, this girl here is not fit for duty.
She is not fit for duty. So white people, white supremacists, they know very well the effects of trauma. They know very well the effects of extended trauma. They know very well the effects of unhealed trauma. They know very well the effects of generational trauma. They understand epigenetics. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I come across a lot of information on these different social media platforms. You know, I was watching a lecture the other day, and they're talking about epigenetics and how epigenetics work, and they understand how epigenetics work, right? And so this information isn't new. So listen to what she was saying. She went to talking about J. Marion Sims, who was experimenting so-called medical experiments on infants and Black women, right? So they're talking about Black folk don't feel pain the same way white folk do. So Black folk don't feel pain the same way white folk don't do, because we subhuman. We're different type of human than they are. But imagine you are the Black person who's experiencing that particular trauma. And that's not the only type of trauma, because she explained a series of traumatic events for one person, only to be relegated as useless or unfit for duty. So what duty was this young girl unfit for? Because he said she will be relegated to the fields because she is unfit for duty. Right? Unfit for duty. What duty? We know SA, more trauma. The trauma is passed down from generation to generation to generation. I remember being in one of the projects right here in Tallahassee, and we were doing some community work, and I'm just looking around at the environment and just seeing like I couldn't live here. I understand if I lived there, I would adapt, but that adaptation would be an unhealthy adaptation to this environment because it's a survival mentality. Cortisol levels are crazy high. I remember being in that same community in the middle of a shootout. We're inside the building, we're planning, shootout happens. Everywhere. The crazy thing about it, I'm looking at everybody who's in this trailer with me. And so I mentioned it. I said, hey, y'all know something wrong with us, right? And they was like, what you mean? I was like, something wrong with us. Normal people in the middle of a shootout don't just sit there and say, oh, they shooting. That don't happen to normal people. Something is wrong with us because we was just like, oh, they shooting again. Okay, so what we was talking about? No, we were supposed to hit the flow. We were supposed to be like, hell nah, we up out of here, but we didn't because it has been so normalized to us. And I'm not even from that community. So imagine being from that specific community. Imagine the trauma on top of the trauma, 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 on top of the generational trauma. Got to think about that. Big shout out to Dr. Joy Degruy for her work to help us understand what has happened to us so we can heal ourselves properly. All right. That's why black people in health. Listen, Ty, we need more black people in healthcare. We need more black people in mental health. We need more black people replacing these, especially these soft sciences or these other sciences. We need black folk taking care of black folk. And we need black folk who have African-centered or Black American-centered mind frames that are not whitewashed, taking care of us. And that's another reason why I am stepping deep into this mental health field. I'm gonna get my MSW, get my LCSW, and get up into helping more black people, especially black men with our mental health. The good thing is many of our youth are waking up. I see it. We will have Sonya Massey incidents though, right? But we have to make sure that we help guide those youth who are waking up. We have enough, and I'm with you, Hustle. We do need to do that, but we have enough information to show that youth who wake up who are unguided won't produce anything tangible. So God bless you. Thank you for your channel support. This is a very important thing. Thank you, Fintax 111. Thank you. Look, I'm just trying to report and talk about the stuff that I think is important to our community. Melissa is in the bill. Done. Thank you for being here, Melissa. Thank you. Candace said, so glad I caught. I'm glad you're here too. Candace, you get you a hand clap too. We're glad you up in this thing too, Candace. Yes. You already know Melissa in the building. Rico says, Ricketts, damn right. So you know what was going on. I'm trying to figure out how it is all right for a Jewish person to say that they not white when it's plainly evidence that you are white, and not only that. I don't know. I don't even know. Dr. Joy Degruy, that sister, she is one of my favorites, man. One of my favorites. She had my attention since the first time I caught her. I listened to her. So true, because brainwashing has been relentless and it won't stop. So we got to reverse that. We got to do like Pop say, don't be brainwashed. Reverse that. Reverse that brainwashing. And those very countries are the places that kicks off the Atlantic slave trade. Portugal is first. I know that Portugal and Spain. Says Ella Joseph, something that's wrong with primarily most of us operate daily in survival mode. Reminds me of why I like to argue and fight. Yeah. Nah, it is. We are in survival mode. That's why I remember Dr. Francis Cress Wilson say we don't have families, we have survival units. A book, well, I would start with her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Start with her book. Another book, Dr. Naeem Akbar's book, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. Anything from Dr. Amos Wilson. Hold up. These two books, especially the Compensatory Code, got to get the compensatory code. Every black household should have the compensatory code. Also, miseducation of the Negro. We can start there. Anything from Dr. Amos Wilson, post-traumatic slave syndrome, breaking the chains of psychological slavery, anything from France Fanon. Like that's a start. That's a start. That's because I am white and I say so. Yep. Family, let's bring up. Please, let's get these likes up. Please, let's get these likes up so we can get this information out farther. And because look, we can break through the shadow banning just with support. If we get more likes, more comments, more shares. If you want to do super chats, you can. If you anything, you join the channel. We can break through the shadow banning. YouTube stay shadow banning because we stay talking about the truth. When you stay preaching the truth, you don't get shadow banned as much. So we can break through the shadow banning. All it takes is the support. So please support. Hit them likes. Let's get it.
She's not fit for duty. Now, you can have an obstetric fistula. It's a horrible condition, but you can still, work in the fields or feed the animals. What duty weren't they fit for? Okay, so we're clear.
We're clear.
Access you sexually, right?
Absolutely.
We recognize this, and I'm giving you this so you can understand how today, how Black women are treated in childbirth. The death rate.
Yeah.
Of infants and women. Come on now, it's 2025. But the perspective and the behavior and the attitude, and then the infants.
Crypto, yes, because they're talking about what happened to Black people across the globe. They're talking about what happened to Black people throughout the diaspora, not just what happened to Black people in America. So really read France Fanon.
What did he do to infants?
Yeah, Black labor, white wealth.
What could he possibly have done to infants? These infants were born with, wait for it, neonatal tetanus. Tetanus originates in manure. Let's do the math. Where did they live? They were often, if not in animal stables, so close to them that they were exposed to the manure.
Absolutely.
Which was the cause of the disease. Stay with me.
Trauma.
No, I'm with you.
Trauma.
I'm with you.
Trauma. Neonatal trauma.
You caused the disease.
ACEs.
But then you turned around in medical journals and blamed it on the intellectual deficiency. And oh my God, it's so hard for me to deal with it. The basically saying that these inadequate parents have created this problem. It's their problem, right? So then he said, well, we'll try to repair it because the head was misshapen. So he took a shoemaker's awl, AWL. It is what you punch holes in leather with. Looks like an ice pick at the end. Stuck it in the skulls.
So I want you to I'm gonna back it up a bit, but I want you to think about what she's about to describe what they did to young children. But yes, hustle life. We got to have real unity. We got to have real unity. But listen to what she's about to explain, because we're talking about generational trauma. We're talking about what parents, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters had to endure at the hands of the white supremacists. Now, thank you, Fentex. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for the support, because if y'all wouldn't be supporting, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But listen to what she's talking about.
And he said, well, we'll try to repair it because the head was misshapen. So he took a shoemaker's awl, AWL. It is what you punch holes in leather with. Looks like an ice pick at the end. Stuck it in the skulls of these babies at birth and tried to realign their skulls with a 100% fatality rate.
With no anesthesia.
Go down.
Gotcha.
But it made him the father of it. Made him the father of the field. So he got a statue, and then he's also honored or crowned and taught as the father of gynecology. And Doc, I just want to kind of.
And she's listen to what they just said. This was the behavior of the father of gynecology. When Black women are talking about their experiences at the doctor, I've heard so many Black women, including my mother, talking about their negative experiences going to the doctor. A lot of black women just be siphoning through doctors. They have to fire so many doctors because the doctors are inadequate. They're telling them that they're not in pain when they're in pain. Like she just talked about it in 2016, where a group of medical students, predominantly white, were asked if black people felt the same type of pain as white people, and most of them said that black people didn't feel the same type of pain as white people. They still believe that we are subhuman. But so many black women and so many black people, period. I heard a black woman with a quote, and I don't disagree with it. I agree with the quote. She says, the police are to black women, the police are to black men what doctors are to black women. I'm gonna say it again. The police are to black men what doctors are to black women. This is the history that she's getting into. That was the behavior of the, you right, Renee, a psychopath in a white coat.
I jump in real quick, just interject. Sure. I was thinking, and Brother Alchemy on Instagram just said, you mentioned ghettos being in the community, but Brother Alchemy Evolution said, yeah, he said it's still sundown towns in Louisiana. And then even speaking of barns, you mentioned how we were in close proximity. If we didn't live in the barns, we were in close proximity to them. I'm thinking about the Akin House down there in Louisiana, in New Orleans. I went to the Akin House and I did a tour, and they took me upstairs to where our ancestors stayed. They were right above the stable, in one room shack. So the one room shack is right here, and literally the stable is downstairs. That's right. And that's how our ancestors live. So I mean, everything you're saying is right and exact. So when you develop and when you wrote your book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, you were trying to get people to understand the impact that slavery and all of the atrocities that we suffered from after that, during that, and afterwards, how it impacted us. Right, it still suffer from. You were just trying to put it in this book and explain how it suffers. Now, at any point did you say we didn't develop a culture during slavery? Are you
kidding me? If we didn't develop a culture, come on now. How ridiculous could that be?
Here we go. Here we go. Hold on before they get into it, because Dr. Joy Degruy gonna break it down like she always break it down. But I want to deal with this. That 100 years ago, they thought infants couldn't feel pain. Imagine how many infants had mental health issues because of operations performed. The society is insane. So how much of that trauma was passed down? I'm just saying, man. And stuff like that continued. Like, I constantly see my people walking down the street cursing out the voices in their head. I constantly see my people in bad positions. I want to do more to help my people. I'm doing stuff now, but I want to do more. But we got to tackle our mental health crisis. The mental health crisis is going to help us tackle the problem with white supremacy. How to separate from the psychopathic psychopaths, right? But we got to get our minds right. We got to take the chains off our minds first. You will never get over what's still happening. Exactly. If I keep slapping you, it ain't gonna stop it. Especially if you can't stop it. I say decadence is the enemy only because of look closely at what it truly produces. It produces all the disease and unhealthy baby. Yep. MSW would be great, Joseph. I can see you eventually getting that multiplex house for mental health and foster care. Oh, yes, thank you. But you just made me think. Shout out to my big homie, Mr. Sam Carter, because that's what he's doing now. So I'm gonna give y'all a heads up. So I'm gonna be interviewing Mr. Sam Carter and my brother Wallace Ward, because they are right now working to restore a house to do just that. And so he does. Sam Carter is one of my heroes and one of the most realist and pro-blackest people that I know. And he probably don't know half this information, but he loves his people and he go about making sure his people have what they need. So shout out. He made me think about Sam Carter. Shout out to him. When I see those who don't live in decadence, I actually see them more healthy. You're right. Nobody, a healthy seed cannot grow properly in toxic soil. Yeah, so let's get back into it. Listen to what she's talking about culture. Because you know they love to say that Black Americans don't have culture, which is stupid.
America owes its culture to us. Are you
better
kidding me?
teach Dr. Degruy.
I mean, when we think about, just in terms of original artistry and music, and
food.
We made a way out of no way, and then made it made it so everybody wanted. You know, when I travel the world, and I mean, everybody's trying to be Black. Everybody's trying to take on our culture, our music, our art, our look. It amazes me. And then turn around and say they're superior, we're inferior, or we're ugly and they're beautiful. But why are you putting collagen in your lips? Why are you locking your hair? Why are you buying a butt in the Emperor's New Clothes? I'm going, is it just me?
It's not she, Doc.
Do we just not notice what's going on? Because it's not that deep. This book is really straightforward.
Right,
it's
Ricardo.
Really straightforward. It is not my opinion. First of all, hold
on, let me answer this question. You're right, Ricardo. It's so sad. It says, what books were you recommending to read earlier? I said we talked about Black Labor, White Wealth, Power Diamonds from Dr. Claude Anderson. Talked about the compensatory code from Neely Fuller Jr., ISIS papers from Francis Cress Wilson, Miseducation of the Negro, everything from Dr. Amos Wilson, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, Dr. Naeem Akbar. Those are just a few to get you started. It says, where I live, right, unhealed mental health problems are persisting and growing within our communities. Ty says, it's amazing when you think our mental health problems haven't been treated, but these white folks have the resources. Yep. But it's not in their nature to do that.
Read it. It's history.
It's history.
What was left out. Then you can draw upon your own conclusion. But that's the thing that's the other thing. I'm so glad you were talking about the algorithms.
Yeah.
All of that, because what's happening now in AI.
Come on.
Listen, if we don't start creating the counter narrative.
That's right.
AI is
right,
going
Renee.
to suck up all the crazy.
Yep.
Just send it back to you.
No problem, crypto.
If we don't put
correct
information. And here's the other thing. We don't all have to agree.
No.
Come on, we don't all have to agree. But the bottom line is we can't sit here and get angry about it if we don't start producing the counter narrative.
Exactly.
Create your own narrative. Trust me, they'll create it for you.
They'll create it for you.
There you go. Create your own narrative, or they will create it for you. My favorite, Dr. Amos Wilson. I don't know. I got to think about it. I don't know. But right now, I'm gonna say everything, but I don't know. But once again, if you don't create your reality, they will create it for you.
That's right. And I just don't, and that's why I had to reach out to you, because I just didn't want it to be a situation where now AI is saying Dr. Joy Degruy created post-traumatic slave syndrome, and then and it's a bunch of misinformation and disinformation.
They can create me. Let's be clear. At this point, they could take me and make it like I'm saying it. And so it's so insane. The only good news, I guess, for me, is there's so much out there that would counter that.
That's right.
Right. And so long as we keep doing this,
that's right.
And we start having real conversations, like I tell people, it's one of those, like when you show the little thing with the people that are going around to the campuses, the HBCUs and all that. That's the other thing. I was born on October 16th, so I'll never forget the Million Man March.
Ashe.
And the Million Man March was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. That was a moment in history. And what happened? This is what it was. This was my birthday. That's all I did. I was sitting there. I was crying.
Here's my email, Miss Ashland. Miss Ashland 1239. Here's my email.
I was so involved in just really praying for the brothers and everything that was going on. And before it was over, they had two Black folks basically denigrating everything that was being done.
Oh, I believe you.
They found two Black people. They got them. They were so happy that Mr. Jimmy gave them the mic. And they just was dogging out. Oh, and I'm going, my God, First of all, 1 million men, more than 1 million, probably 1 million black men come together without incident. We can't have you believing that. We can't have you thinking that y'all could, because if y'all could come together peacefully, do the math. And so what I realized about this, which is the reason why these conversations are so important.
Right, lady.
Absolutely. I'm in my lane. I stay in my lane. You know, my granddaughter is at Tuskegee, and she's a STEM. One of your STEM students coming up.
I love it. I love it.
It's
I love it.
amazing.
I love it.
And she got a lane, and I tell her that all the time. I said I stay in my lane, but the bottom line is everybody has a lane. Get in it and do what you need to do to help you and our community. But sitting back and bantering, I don't give a nickel's worth of time to that, because we have to begin to recognize our.
But remember too, D, the slaves were forced to breed as well. The slaves were forced to breed with each other. That helped to lead to a lot of these promiscuous behaviors that we have today. But the slaves were forced to breed as well. Remember that.
Our collective. And let me say this, really, really important.
Blueprint for Black
the
Power is
oppressor
fire.
is banking on is the fact that we cannot come together. They're banking on it. They're banking on our inability to come together. So everything I'm doing is countering that narrative. Everything is about, listen, I've had to tell people have called me and asked me, Joy, I need to get a certain kind of information. I go, okay, well, I want you to call Carl but don't mention me because he hates me. Okay, let's be clear. But I'm not attached to that.
Right.
Carl can give you what you need. It don't matter that he don't like me. And so what we have to do is get out of our own way enough so that we recognize that what we can do together, what we can do collectively is the greatest fear. That's the greatest fear they have. And they're banking on our inability to do it. So we get caught up in the crazy stuff. And, you'll say, there was I'll tell you about it. This is a real true story. Young brother, I was living in Portland, Oregon at the time. My fault. I was living in Portland, Oregon, and there was a young brother that we noticed. There aren't that many.
Melissa, you missed the we'll run it back. We'll run it back on interracial dating. We'll run it back because I did do one on interracial dating not long ago. Email me, Melissa. I'll send you that video. But I run one back on interracial dating. I definitely run one back because we'll take a deep dive. That's something me and PhD will definitely go get into. But yeah, email me because I'll send you one of the videos I just did. But we will run it back on interracial dating. I got you. Ain't no thing. I got you.
Black people in Portland. So when you see another black person, my daughter and I, at least my family, we're like, hey, where you from? Let me tell you what's going on. Let me connect you. We were connectors. We always saw black, anybody knew. My children, of course, thought.
Oh, you showed it. I saw that. So you showed this. I'm going to respond to that email with the video that I did about interracial dating. I think it was one of my readings. So I got you.
That, are they related to us? They just figured everybody that was black that they saw in Portland must have been related to us. But no, we meet this guy, and he's at a little coffee shop. But he says, but I'm a printer. He said, I would like to, open my own shop, like printing and framing and all. I said, oh man, wonderful. I know a brother right here in Portland, Jerome Pope, and he's the guy. So I called Jerome. Jerome goes, send him over. I help him get started, tell him kind of what I'm doing. Because Jerome been there forever, 30, 40, he's still there, right? So I find myself at a community meeting. There's a bunch of black people there, right? And I'm just, get kind of talk.
Those athletes, entertainers, celebrities, they were never produced in the community because their minds are whitewashed. They didn't come up. They didn't get a boost up to help black people. They got a boost up to help continue the system of white supremacy. They will never be on our side for the majority of them.
Talking, and then I hear people saying, you hear about that young guy that came in here talking about he gonna have his own print shop, he gonna have his own frame shop. Well, I'm going to go to Jerome. I don't know. And I'm thinking, can we have two? I'm sorry, can we have more than one?
You're right, Nemesis.
And
You're
their
right.
first thought was it would somehow be disloyal to patronize this brother's shop because they went to Jerome's. And when Jerome himself helped this young man, you know, he had to pack up and leave, took his family back. I think he was wearing back east, took his family back east because he couldn't be embraced. That's post-traumatic.
It is post-traumatic.
And so when we start looking at even loyalty and what we think that is, last story, I promise.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening. Tell me, give me. I was while you're giving these stories. I'm over here thinking about Carter G. Woodson because he told a lot of stories. But go ahead, Dr. Joy. Go ahead, Dr. Joy.
I put that. I post that video,
and
Renee.
just recently, it kind of showed up again for me. Someone asked a question at a lecture, and I was invited. And I'm going to have to be careful now because I don't want to expose anybody. But I was invited to speak by a woman, Black woman, who community organizer, doing incredible work. She invited me to come speak at a forum that she had developed. It was all women. So when I got there, now this is a paid engagement, where she said, Joy, I'd like to pay you to come and do a presentation. That, okay, it's all good, So I show up. When I walk in the room, there is a standing ovation. This is before I even get in the room. And
as it should be.
It was overwhelming. It was a little overwhelming. And so as I'm walking towards the stage, I'm watching the person who invited me, the woman who is paying me to be there. And I'm watching, I couldn't read it completely, but her face there's no smile there. There was a pain that I saw. It was pain that I saw in her face. And it hit me so hard because everybody's, clapping, and I'm watching her, but that's not what I'm seeing. So when I get to the mic, I said, you know what? There's someone in this room that was doing this work when no one was looking. There is someone in this room that was doing this work, getting up early in the morning, going to sleep late at night, that was doing this work. When nobody knew her name, she was doing this work.
That's right.
I started to talk. The whole room rose up. And the whole room started to shout her name and clap for her. And the tears, she burst into tears. She burst into tears because I'm reading her, and that didn't take anything from me. Do you understand me? That didn't take anything away from me to give her hers because she deserved it, first of all. I wasn't making it up. But at the other end of it, how many of us will watch her and ignore it? And go, well, she's got tripping or whatever. But I could feel my sister's heart. And I knew there was no space where she could go, but what about me? Do you understand me? And sometimes it's counterintuitive for most people. But for us, it can't be. Because this is heart work that I do. It's not between the ears, although I cross the T's and dot the I's. Trust.
Come on.
But the bottom line is it's hard work. And that sister and what she had been doing in that community, she couldn't toot her own horn, and she never would. But she needed that standing ovation. I didn't.
I didn't. Got to doc.
The bottom line is that I think the injury. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
There's an injury, and it's not. This stuff is not, like I said, it's not deep. Sometimes you can just shut up and listen. You can feel it if you have a feeling heart. You can feel it.
That's right.
And so what for me, the work is about us loving ourselves back. We got to love each other back. We got to resist building each other up and then cutting our legs out. Oh yeah, they got that house. They ain't gonna keep it though. All that kind of stuff. Why can't we delight in the success of our neighbor?
That's right.
These are the things that are not deep, but they're critical. They're critical. And we do. So many of us need to be loved back. And you know what? I think about the work, and I think about my people loving me. You know what they told me when I wrote the book? This is never going to go anywhere because Black people don't read. Do you know the number one thing that has saved me has been people buying and reading my book? The total opposite is true in terms of this book, right? But that's what people discourage me. They actually say, well, you write a book, ain't nobody gonna read no book. Because they bought the lie. Do you see what I'm saying? They are, not only did they buy the lie, they are now passing it along. And so what we have to do in these settings is we have to, remember I told you, we have to get, I'm at Morehouse, I'm doing work at Morehouse. I love it. But I told them there, I said, we got to help the folks on the outside of that gate. Inside, it's like nirvana. It's like, ooh,
but on the outside, that's where
it's 0 to 0.
Yeah, and
Melissa, I just sent you the email with the links to the videos, and I just replied to the book club message. So check that out, Melissa. And I'm Renee about to post them in a minute.
Go ahead.
The collective.
Absolutely. I just wanted to interject and say my colleagues and I have been having that conversation about how a lot of HBCU institutions are really disconnected from the community. It's kind of like in these HBCUs, Howard, you mentioned Morehouse. I'm over at Morgan. And so it's kind of like we live in our own little bubble and we're completely, disconnected. I mean, to the point where I got pulled up by leadership because I was in the community speaking about violence that was happening. There was one of our students got murdered in the west part of Baltimore. There were 2 people down the street from the university who got murdered. And I went out and I'm in the community. I'm speaking. I'm talking about the violence. I'm talking about us loving each other. And I got pulled to leadership. They're like, wait a minute, Doc, you can't be out there speaking. And if you are speaking, make sure you let them know it's not they started panicking. And I was like, wait a minute. Why? I'm not saying anything, disparaging about the university. I'm not out here representing the university in a bad light. Why is it that I can't go out? Why do you all feel uncomfortable with me going out here, being with the people when things happen, when people are grieving, people are getting murdered? I actually got pulled in the office because of that. Absolutely. And so they were like, look, when you're out there speaking, don't say you represent us because we don't want to be connected to murder. And I'm like, murder, it happens and it's happening down the street from Morgan. Like we don't want to be connected. So my colleagues and I, we talk about how these universities and colleges, even though we're saying they're HBCU, we're calling them Black institutions, but they're disconnected from the Black community, which is the community that they purport to serve. And so it's a disconnect there. Now, Doc, I wanted to go back to this because I only got like another 10 or 15 minutes with you. I want to go back to Black culture. Because when I mentioned culture, you was like, that's foolish. Like you were looking like that's foolish. Because people say things like, the person that I'm talking about, I'm not going to even shine and say his name, but and it's not even just his argument. It's an argument that.
So because of time, I am going to stop their conversation right there. But I believe I put a video to the full. Yep. I put a link to the full video in my description. So you can go check that out. And I dropped a question in the comment section. I dropped the question: how can we reprogram ourselves to become free from white supremacy? How can we do that? Ty says, from the dog test, we know self-hate can start as early as 3. So we need to act quick to be able to change it. Right. And that gets into those, what they call those ACEs, reducing the amount of ACEs, reducing the incidence of ACEs, the chances of ACEs. But that goes back to something Nimitz said earlier, like good people actually producing better people, like good people producing good people. Like we have to really do that. We have to, right? Hey man, we got to support our own. If we don't support us, nobody gonna support us. So it's up to Black people to do something different, to make the choice to do something different. White people, these white supremacists, are not going to change what they do. They're not going to change their programming because it works for them. And if it's continuing to work for them, why would they change it? If it ain't broke for them, why fix it, right? So we got to understand that helping to understand the origins of Black mental health. And we do have a mental health crisis in the Black community, but what are we going to do about it? Because if we don't fix our minds, nothing else can be fixed. Nothing else. I start the video at 50:55. Ty, I stopped at 50:55. So as a gay Eritrean who separated from Pan-African Dusties with their selective sympathy and anti-gay bills for one screen. All right. So when Black people ask me what I've done for the Black community, not got in the way of my brothers and sisters when they're making their moves, if I could assist them, there you go. There you go. We ain't asking everybody to put a cape on, but just assist where you can. So what I said, once again, the video is stopped at 50:55. There you go. Hey man, it's a great video. Y'all please go over and subscribe to Dr. Ma'at's channel. Hit that like button over there. Show Dr. Ma'at some support. Thank you to Dr. Ma'at. Educate our own children, turn off the TV, social media, create our own institutions, privilege Blackness. There you go. There you go. I worked at a product job in New York, figured out how to get the same results with half the effort. Boss asked me why I was Black, and I told him, I'm built like that. And I get, there you go. There you go. Don't be worrying about me, sucker. Sucker ass. Don't worry about me. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely want to see you and Pat do a review of Dr. Amos Wilson. Yeah. It's time for us to do another one on Dr. Wilson. So you already know. But we got something crazy that we're doing for our breakdown this week. So we're gonna need it's something that's needed to be talked about. They're intensifying that white supremacy psychopathy. Yep. I have read to study. I have really had to study what white supremacy is because the pitfalls are everywhere. You got to. T-Wo, you already know what it is. 100, 1,000s, thank yous. Thank you, D. Thank you. Heavy on educating. You already know it. It says the white male group is okay. Excellent broadcast. Thank you, Renee. No more Black Friday. Hey, it's White Nabisco Friday. I'm gonna get me a Nabisco sound. Nabisco. I'm gonna get that sound just for you, Uptight. You're gonna make me go get that Nabisco sound. It is true. Pan-Africanism is mostly practiced in America. The bulk of the progress of Pan-Africanism has been outside of the continent. I've been telling Black people to turn off the TV for decades. There was a study that shows Black children's self-esteem was lower watching TV. Look, we got to learn. We Blacks is codependent on white supremacy, right? But we were also programmed to do that because these are the places where they answer to be king. There you go. Is that what boule means? Boule mean, I don't know what boule mean, but you know. But I got to get up out of here. I got to get up out of here. So Nagoose, thank you. D, Ignite, thank you. The real PhD Diva. I'm gonna be sending you an email real soon because you already know what's going down on Saturday. So thank you. The Hustle Life, thank you. Uptight 24, you already know what it is. Thank you. Renee Wood, thank you. Lady V, thank you for being up in here. T-Wo, thank you for being up in here. Did I say Ty? No, Ty. Thank you for being in here, Ty. Ricardo Float, my main man. Thank you for being up in here. Who else was up in here? What this? Tubi, Toussaint, thank you. Thank you for being up in here with us on this good Tuesday. It feel like Saturday because it's this time of day, but it's Tuesday. So Real Nemesis X, my main man, day one. Thank you, my brother. African Awakening, thank you. Hustle Life, thank you. Melissa, thank you. Who else was up in here? Mr. Akebulon, thank you for being up in here. Rashad Ali, thank you for being up in here. Miss Ashlyn, thank you for being up in here. Crypto, thank you. Sion, thank you. I appreciate all y'all for rocking with your boy. Straight out of Tallahassee, Florida. Coming from Tallahassee, Florida. Fintax, thank you. Dion was the first one in here, the first one to comment. Thank you, Dion. What's this? Lika, thank you. Candace, thank you for being up in here. I'm glad you caught this live as well. Thank you. Cool lad Chuck, thank you. Thank you for being up in here, man. User Tim, I appreciate you. Who else was up in here rocking with you, boy? Metamorphosis, thank you. I'm acting like I can't read today. Sion, thank you for being up in here. If I didn't say your name already. Let me see who else was up in here. I want to make sure everybody get their love, because you don't have to be here. So if you here, you're gonna get some love up in here. Venus Johnson, thank you. Terrible 76211 2011. Inside the dust jacket. Thank you. Logos Black, thank you. Ernest Smith, thank you for being up in here. Wise Scholar, thank you. Make sure you hit me up, Wise Scholar. Make sure you hit me up. Arnold Witherspoon, it's going down. Black man called Preston. You already know what it is. Hey, y'all give yourselves a round of applause for being up in here on this good Tuesday. Making this thing lovely. And we got our good learning on today. Thank you to Dr. Ma'at for having Dr. Joy Degruy on her platform, and look forward. I'm in the plans. I would love to have both Dr. Ma'at and Dr. Joy Degruy as guests over here. So check that out. So, hey, I love y'all. Happy Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend, and I'm out. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.